Well, welcome to the 700 Club. Stories of miraculous survival and heartbreaking sorrow continue to unfold in the fallout from the deadliest tornado outbreak in the U.S. in more than a decade. The death count is still rising as the search continues. More than 100 people are still missing.
Relief is pouring in from all corners of the country. Jenna Browder reports on what's being done to meet immediate needs and what lies ahead on the long road to recovery.
It's day 4 of cleanup and recovery in the country's heartland as we learn more about the storm's victims and hear harrowing stories of survival.
It happened so fast. I mean, the glass was flying, and then the roof come down, and the walls are caving in.
In hard-hit Mayfield, Kentucky, this man's home was left in shambles.
Like a war zone. Unimaginable.
Many losing everything.
We lost everything. We lost our home. We lost all of our vehicles, all of our belongings. We basically have nothing.
At least 44 tornadoes reported across 9 states, the deadliest tornado outbreak in the U.S. in more than a decade. Homes and businesses flattened, damage as far as the eye can see.
The whole building fell. We are stuck.
This cell phone video taken by a woman stuck inside a candle factory that collapsed. In Illinois, 6 people died in an Amazon warehouse that also collapsed. OSHA is investigating. An emotional governor of Kentucky on his state's rising death count.
Of the ones that we know, the age range is 5 months to 86 years, and 6 are younger than 18.
In Missouri, a young victim mourned. 9-year-old Addiston Rackley died in the storm. Her mother, Megan, still fighting for her life. The community coming together to pray.
Lord, for all the nurses and the doctors.
Meanwhile, support from across the country is pouring in.
Did y'all get food?
The Salvation Army among the organizations distributing food and supplies.
A lot of this area is a poorer area, and rebuilding is going to take time. And the big thing is the outpour of love and affection and support is here now. This is day 3, day 4, but what's going to happen on week 2, week 3, week 4?
CBN's Operation Blessing, working with church partners on the ground to deliver food, water, and other necessities.
There are those immediate things, food, warmth, sometimes tarps, things of that nature.
And President Biden has approved a disaster declaration for Kentucky and says he'll soon approve an emergency request for Illinois. He's expected to visit Kentucky tomorrow. In Washington, Jenna Browder, CBN News.
Well, Anthony Lloyd is the Senior Director of U.S. Disaster Relief for Operation Blessing. He joins us now live from Bowling Green, Kentucky. So, Anthony, you've been involved in a lot of disasters, a lot of disaster sites. How does this one compare to other disasters you've seen?
Good morning, Gordon. We're here in Bowling Green, and it's intimidating to see the damage in these areas around Bowling Green. The storm did quite a number on some of the neighborhoods and the infrastructure around here, truly looming over the area, and caused a lot of destruction and caused a lot of loss of life. So yes, very, very stark.
How can you tell us about the impact on people there? How are they responding?
Yeah, the impact has been, of course, there's been a loss of life, as your viewers have been informed of, and the reports that we've received through our partners are individuals that were in their homes at the time storm hit, and then after you look at the house visiting when the storm passed, there's no way to discern a home even there, and the individual walked out of it. So they've gone through a lot, and their attitudes are picking up. They've been encouraged by the pastors. The Lord is moving in the community as they start that path to recovery, but many have had experiences of being in their homes or their bathtub as the storm hits, sometimes singing praises to God and Him actually protecting them.
Well, tell us about Operation Blessing. What are we there doing, and what are our efforts to help?
Yes, thank you, Gordon. Right now, Operation Blessing has conducted some outreach with partner churches. We've conducted 2 days of assessments, both in Tennessee and in Kentucky, here in Bowling Green. And in those conversations with our church partners, they've asked for disaster relief loads, which thankfully the partners of the Hunger Strike Force have dropped one, and there's another one scheduled today. And then we seek to look at opportunities for longer-term recovery, and we'll continue to provide loads to support the needs as they come in. Things such as water and warmth and tarps and things like that.
What are you thinking of in terms of longer-term recovery?
Well, that's where you got to kind of really put the hand to the plow. The individuals that come in, like we do early on, to help that initial kickoff. Sometimes their staying power is impacted because the longer-term road is harder. It requires more time and materials, and so we're going to very carefully plan and work with through our church partners to meet those needs, to try and find those homes that we can actually get a roof on, put some siding on, and really kind of hang in there with them as they go further down the road, rather than just the initial the initial impact, which of course we're involved in now.
All right, Anthony, thank you. Thank you for being there. Thank you for being there in their time of need. And that's your hand extended. If you're a member of the 700 Club, you're part of that. A portion of every gift you give goes into the work of Operation Blessing to deliver food. Right now, we're delivering food, water, and other relief supplies to those who are in need right there on the ground. And then we're not going to stop there. We want to be there for the long haul for those. This is going to be a long effort on recovery. If you want to participate in it, you can call us and say, I want to give to the Operation Blessing Disaster Relief Fund. You can write us, CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23463. Just put disaster relief on the memo line of your check, or you can call us right now, 1-800-700-7000, or visit cbn.com. There's a place on the internet where you can designate your gift to the disaster relief team. So do it now. Let's help those in Kentucky, those in Tennessee, the number of states, the number of people. You look at the vast devastation, what can we do? Well, we can do our part. We can find a place where we can really help people, and you can be a part of it. Call us now, 1-800-700-7000. In other news, newly released text messages show that people close to former President Trump wanted him to take action as the Capitol invasion unfolded. John Jessup has more on that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
Thanks, Gordon. At Monday's hearing of the Select Committee investigating the events of January 6th, Congresswoman Liz Cheney quoted a text message sent to then Chief of Staff Mark Meadows from Donald Trump Jr. as the mob invaded the Capitol.
To condemn this, Meadows responded, quote, I'm pushing it hard. I agree.
The committee also revealed texts to Meadows from Republican members of Congress and some Fox News hosts calling for action by former President Trump. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives could vote on the committee's recommendation to hold Meadows in contempt of Congress as early as today. This after he stopped cooperating and ignored a subpoena to testify. Before his about-face, Meadows had turned over thousands of records with no claim to executive privilege. Meadows says the investigation is not about making the Capitol safer, rather about attacking former President Trump. Well, the Air Force has, my apologies, getting mixed up here. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says the body will vote to raise the debt limit today. The House and Senate earlier paved the way for the vote by passing legislation requiring a simple majority in the Senate. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warned the government could reach its spending limit as early as tomorrow. Leader Schumer also said the Senate aims to pass the president's $2 trillion social spending bill before Christmas. However, West Virginia Democrat Joe Manchin told President Biden he's still not ready to support the bill, which cannot pass without his vote. The Air Force has discharged 27 airmen for refusing to take the COVID vaccine, none of them requesting a religious exemption. Their release comes as cases across the country are rising by 10% or more in the weeks since Thanksgiving. A new CDC forecast predicts about 40,000 more Americans could die from COVID-19 before the end of the year. To combat rising cases in New York, the governor there is reinstituting a statewide mask mandate. People at indoor public places who do not show proof of vaccination are now required to wear face coverings.
This is a crisis of the unvaccinated. Those are the individuals that are 10 times more likely to be in our hospitals. And this is where I get angry. They cannot sustain this any longer.
Meanwhile, a somber reminder of the toll paid by Americans during the COVID-19 pandemic, with deaths now approaching 800,000. Well, the discovery of a 2,000-year-old synagogue in the region of Galilee in Israel offers a new window into life during the times of Jesus. Israeli archaeologists say they found the synagogue in the town of Migdal, located on the northern shore of the Sea of Galilee. It was the second discovery of a synagogue from biblical times. In 2009, one of the most well-preserved synagogues from the time of the Second Temple was found, and archaeologists say this second synagogue reflected a need for a building dedicated for Torah reading and study. The town is well known for being the home of Mary Magdalene. It's possible Jesus might have preached in one or both of the synagogues. The Bible records miracles he performed in Galilee as well. Migdal is the only place in the world where two synagogues from the Second Temple period have been found in the same area, bringing the Bible to life, Gordon.
It's like it happens every week in Israel, where they kick over a stone and they find something of biblical importance. And here's a synagogue from the Second Temple period, the Temple of Herod, and it shows how dedicated they were to reading the Torah and having regular Torah readings, regular coming together to bring out the scrolls and then read them. And it brings to life when Jesus stood in the synagogue and read from the scroll. He called for the scroll of Isaiah. It's wonderful what's happening in Israel, and it shows the deep connection of the Jewish people to the land.